Hello viewers, my name is Adam.
Yeah, I'm Aaron.
This is Sycamore Productions bring you another TV season review.
We actually got to see Percy Jackson and the Olympians.
Now, the young adult children's novel genre and filmmaking have made a major shift right after near the end of the Hunger Games run after the last two-part film.
That's right. As far as young adult series are concerned, everybody was basically trying to run up and try to chase after the coattails of probably one of the most successful young adult series, and I'm talking about Harry Potter.
And since then, many studios were trying to bring up their own IPs of when they brought their licenses. Only about 3 of them actually made a major dent.
Exactly.
Harry Potter, Twilight, Hunger Games.
But then again, you have certain other more popular young adult series. In this particular case, the Percy Jackson series, that happens to be a fan favorite throughout.
Well, it's one of the more favorite amongst the young adult genres.
It is,
and it had 2 previous film adaptations.
Very much like another young adult series. In this case, the Lemony Snicket's series.
But near that tail end of when the Hunger Games were just about to end their original run, a lot of them decided, because there were a lot of underperformers, became television shows.
And this is pretty much the same case that happened with this particular series. Now, again, this did have the outing before, and we actually did see that particular first adaptation with the movies starring Logan Lerman. I enjoyed the first one, but of course, once you got into like the Sea of Monsters sequel, things tend to fall apart really, really quickly. It didn't necessarily feel as though it had the exact same kind of flair or attention that was given towards the first one.
Even the first one took some liberties from the source material.
A lot.
So what did Disney do in this Disney Plus adaptation that can bring back fans of the source material and also new ones? So Percy Jackson and the Olympians, it is based on the series of novels of Half-Blood Adventures by Rick Riordan. He also co-created this new adaptation. Exactly.
And basically this particular series of books, or at least for this first season of the adaptation, centers itself around the titular character being Percy Jackson. Basically is played with a lot of woes down on himself. He has attention. He has, what was it?
Dyslexia.
Yeah, dyslexia. He's not able to necessarily read things the way he's supposed to. He's
socially awkward.
He's very socially awkward, bullied quite often, and basically living in not the most best family dynamics that he possibly could be.
Yes, and the plot begins to unfold when he discovers that he's part of a small community minority called Half-Bloods. Half-Bloods, also known as demigods, if you are aware of that type of mythology.
Yes, this particular series is heavily influenced by Greek mythology and very much a central piece of the whole dynamics of the story going forward. Percy, who ends up understanding that he has lineage with one of the 3 major great gods, in this particular case Poseidon, is thrust on a journey to try and save his mother from the grips of another demigod, from another Greek god, in hopes of trying to succeed in his quest.
Now, this first season is based off the first book of these Percy Jackson and Olympians novels, the Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, and that was also the source of the first previous film.
And for the most part, if you saw that film or at least read the books, you pretty much have a great understanding of how this series basically plays out. However, that's not to say that this particular adaptation doesn't have its nuances as well.
For the most part, for the author of the book to be one of the co-creators of this new adaptation, the show aims to be as faithful as possible. And with that, I would say that despite them actually casting age appropriate characters as they were like Harry Potter in its original heyday, grew like well middle school age. This adaptation does to a point address some of the more mature things that were trying to be addressed throughout the novels.
That's true. Again, we have a lot of abandonment issues, broken home syndromes,
Neglect, abuse,
exactly.
ostracism.
Yeah, heavily so. There's a lot of social themes are actually introduced within this series, and then it also does, which I found to be very refreshing, was nuances towards the concept of the Greek mythology in and of itself. Certain plot points that happened with certain particular characters that we've all technically thought, at least if you're a fan or a scholar in that particular mythology, needed some type of new age context to be brought into the conversation.
It's just that for a show in this first season, at least with 8 episodes, unfortunately, like it's too busy trying to speed run a lot of the more important developments from the plot of the novel that it could have benefited with some fleshing out. 8 episodes is like by itself, like in general, will be enough. But the thing is, the episodes are too short as well.
Exactly. I think maybe one of the more major complaints that we have for this particular series, or at least this particular season, is that it has a huge editing problem, as far as not being able to linger in on certain plot points or story elements, dialogue heavy situations or action sequences that you would have wanted it to. Oftentimes you're in the midst of a situation that's going down, and then maybe like a few seconds later or a few scenes later, it's automatically resolved or moved on to the next plot point, and that is a little bit jarring and frustrating as an audience trying to soak in the story as it goes on. And this new adaptation does lend itself to being something that I actually do want to see going forward, because it did make it interesting. So it's a little bit more frustrating when the creators of the series didn't have that confidence, exactly, to go forward and allow us to breathe in with everything that's going on around us.
Could have benefited either longer episodes in the 8 episodes time span, or actually extended the season for a couple more episodes, so that everything you're showing is thoroughly realized.
I could have gone for at least maybe like 10 or maybe even 12 episodes.
But even with those 10 episodes, you need to make sure the episodes feel as though they're full in their own right.
Exactly.
Characters. Percy Jackson, he is this time portrayed by a young actor, Walker Scobell.
I actually did enjoy this actor's performance. I think he was very personable, very relatable. I actually found myself pretty much intrigued on his journey and as he was going through it. And I thought he had quite an interesting take on trying to take on an individual who's put into this particular situation of having to thought at one point just being a broken individual in a normal average setting, to being thrust into a fantastical, larger than life adventure in and of itself.
He's a little sassy attitude. He helps give
he is so sassy.
Sassy. I can understand why Ryan Reynolds, he's the one who probably helped discover him.
And
and he holds his own even with more experienced actors.
Oh yeah.
I will say one thing about the character that I actually do think the first film did better than in this one was that I expected his dyslexia.
Yeah.
It was actually like that issue is more of a briefly mentioned in this adaptation.
Yeah, I think they really only give you maybe one scene that really showcases that concept to the audience, whereas in the film adaptation there was quite a few points where they made it clear that he's not able to perceive things the way that you normally would be able to.
But they did do a good job of addressing the fact that he is able, like many other half-bloods, able to see the world beyond our world.
In fact, that concept in itself was actually done, I think, probably better in this series, in the concept that the real world and the fantastic or mythological world are something that lives on two different planes, but at the same time meld together in one and just hidden between each other.
But this film, this adaptation, I feel do even more better. Like, it's basically the heart is his relationship with his mother, Sally.
Yes, I really did enjoy it. Where in the movies, it was basically something that was just a plot point, and it was just like only as a MacGuffin situation. In this one, she is given a little bit more to do, and actually given a character in and of herself that's separate, not just from Percy Jackson and Poseidon and the rest of the gang.
Her presence and the scenes that we're able to see with her, like help ground the aspect of the difficulties of basically being a single parent, and the struggles of trying to navigate two different types of worlds while handling such a very troubling child and mother relationship.
And there's so much heart between each other.
Yes. Another character who joins Percy on his quest is the character of Annabeth, who was played by Leah Jeffries.
Yes, where Annabeth was for the movies, I feel as though this one is very much, it's similar towards the way that was done in that setting too, but I feel as though this one was given a little bit more agency in the concept that she is very much a serious driven young lady.
Her storyline is actually more of a parallel with Percy.
Mm-hmm.
You have from Percy, he's naive and we're welcoming to this discovering the world through his eyes.
Whereas in Annabeth's case, is very much of this is the world that she knows and this is what she understands, and she's trying to navigate it in the ways that she feels as though you should do it.
But the thing is, as of course of the season, she started to realize that the bureaucracy and the politics within the world that she thinks she knows is not as clear cut.
Yeah, things are pretty hypocritical around here, and it's going to be something that I'm very much interested to see how far she goes with it.
Mm-hmm. And also playing the trio of main characters is Grover, played by Aryan Simhadri.
I actually did, there was hardly any particular performance in this series I didn't necessarily enjoy. I feel as though with this character, he really, I think because of the mere fact that they casted such young actors in this role, and the way that these young actors are trying to portray the story, the characters in the storyline, feels a little bit more realistic in the concept of what you would think young individuals at this age would react in this situation.
Despite the fact that the character of Grover is actually supposed to be is actually more
a lot
an
older,
at age 24. They said in this that was bought better in the film because that was an adult
exactly.
play.
But in this case, I could you because the way that this young actor carries himself, you could also see that young, that more mature concept in and of itself too.
He's trying to like ground the other two.
Exactly, which was pretty much the heart of what he was trying to do in those series. So like again, it's parallels between those two adaptations where it's interesting to see how well those things mix.
Like other characters like Luke, who is the son of Hermes.
I felt as though Luke in the movie adaptation had a little bit more character, had a little bit more personality than the Luke we had in this one. Not to say that the actor who's playing him in this new adaptation didn't do their job. I still felt as though he is an individual where I can understand where he's coming from, but at the same time, it's also a case in which
we needed more of him.
Exactly.
If anything, this Luke, I feel as though you do feel that
frustration,
and the that kinship between him and Percy, but not necessarily. But if you know where the direction the character actually goes into, it really should have benefited a lot more breadcrumbs along the way.
Exactly. Some of the older actors in this role.
It's just very weird where we discuss because like a combination of young minors to minor actors. Like a lot of the like older actors are portraying gods and other mystical beasts.
Mm-hmm.
Like the one who comes to mind that's actually more of a character than mostly the glorified cameos that populates throughout the season is the character. It's the god of Ares.
Yeah.
Played by Adam Copeland. I'm kind of mixed with how they portray his personality.
Yeah, for a character that's supposed to portray the individual who is literally the personification of what war and conflict is.
They took the more modern approach of him being like more of a jockish internet troll because how else besides getting his hands to actual known wars that do still populate modern day. Will do in his downtime. It's
interesting. It is an interesting take, and I'm more interested. Again, that's probably a big theme throughout this entire review. Is that we need. It is a good thing to actually leave us wanting more, but at the same time, I hope that they actually deliver on those concepts.
Yeah, especially since the actors that they were able to get. They're just cameos.
Exactly.
So we don't necessarily have much of an impression. But overall production, like I said, the show does come off a bit choppy.
Yeah.
In the editing department, because I don't know, as a matter of fact, they just try to focus on trying to get all the major points that are actually from the book on the screen. I
mean, in parts of it, it looks really, really good as far as certain. Basically trying to bring to life some of the more fantastical elements, but at the same time, we're not able to be immersed with those particular elements as much as as long as we should be.
Yeah, VFX wise, if the show probably was handled better with editing and probably a lot more time on hands, it would fully actually see these fully realized sequences done, especially when it comes to showing off the creatures and the powers There's something that the film the film do in spades. Because the film actually what they were not able to do on storytelling wise, they did deliver on spectacle.
Exactly.
Especially with Percy's abilities, showcasing that. It's just that because I'm not sure if they were confident enough to actually just show it. It's from creatures, powers, and environments. The series takes it into the case of it being more subtle. What is nice about production is the music.
Yeah.
It's very Bear McCreary. He composes the main themes. There's somebody else who actually does the actual score throughout. But it is nice to hear his music.
Always a pleasure, especially because Bear McCreary just has that talent to give these particular projects he works on such a unique and original concept in and of itself that it feels legit that this is what it needs to be. And that's definitely the case that you feel as though when you're listening towards the soundtrack and the production on this series.
So right now for season 1 of Percy Jackson and the Olympians, I'm going to say it's good.
Yeah.
If my advice going forward, if this show does get greenlit, and
I can't see for any reason why it can't,
they probably should definitely try the Harry Potter approach.
Yeah.
Adapting it because you want to avoid the Stranger Things aspect. And if there's a season 2, the latest has to be late 2025 or early 26.
Yeah, you can't wait on too long down the road. Actors do, especially young actors, they tend to grow up a little bit quicker than you necessarily would want them to.
You don't want them 30 years old playing a 16-year-old.
That just ain't going to work no more. But I have confidence that they're going to be able to take these going forward and actually implement them the way they're supposed to.
That was our review. And if you want more from us, please like, share, subscribe, and comment below.
Hit that bell at the bottom if you want more videos just like this. Are you a fan of the Percy Jackson series? What are you looking forward to towards season 2?
And what's your favorite young adult novel?
Yep.
Also adaptation. Also look at our social media outlets of Twitter, X, Facebook, and Instagram, and also Letterboxd.
Yep, because there's only so many hours left in the day, and not enough time to actually go through them all.
Again, my name is Adam.
And I'm Aaron.
This has been a Seeking Media production.
See y'all later.